WNBA finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. I'm a human too. I have a family. I have two kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just, it's obviously.
The WNBA is once again at the center of a league-wide debate, and this time, the conversation extends far beyond what happened on the basketball court. Over the past several months, Caitlin Clark has become one of the biggest names in professional sports. Every game she plays attracts millions of viewers, every post-game interview makes headlines, and every major league decision is scrutinized by fans across the country. Now, a new discussion surrounding the future of the WNBA has sparked intense reactions online. Fans, analysts, and former players are debating some of the league's biggest issues, from player compensation and the next collective bargaining agreement to the rapid growth of the sport and what changes may be coming in the years ahead. As these conversations have spread across social media, so have countless rumors. Some posts claim major league changes are imminent, while others speculate about how the next CBA could reshape the future of women's professional basketball. But how much of that is actually true? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. We'll separate verified facts from online speculation, examine what league officials and players have actually said publicly, and explain why these negotiations matter not only to current players, but also to the future of the WNBA. The next collective bargaining agreement could influence salaries, travel standards, revenue sharing, player benefits, scheduling, and many other aspects of the league. These discussions affect every franchise and every player, making them some of the most important conversations happening in women's basketball today. With the WNBA enjoying record attendance, higher television ratings, and unprecedented fan interest, the stakes have never been higher. League leaders, team owners, players, and the Players Association all have a shared interest in building on this momentum, even if they don't always agree on the best path forward. That's why every public comment, interview, and report is generating so much attention. So, what has Caitlin Clark actually said? What has Commissioner Kathy Engelbert said about the league's future? And what can fans realistically expect as these discussions continue? We're breaking down the facts, the context, and the biggest questions surrounding one of the most important stories in the WNBA today. Let's get started. The WNBA is entering one of the most important moments in its history, and the conversation goes far beyond wins and losses. For months, fans have focused on incredible performances, sold-out arenas, rising television ratings, and the arrival of a new generation of stars. But behind the scenes, another story has been quietly developing, one that could shape the future of the league for years to come. At the center of that discussion is the next collective bargaining agreement, commonly known as the CBA. If you're new to basketball, the CBA is essentially the agreement between the league and the players' union. It establishes the rules that govern salaries, benefits, revenue sharing, working conditions, scheduling, travel standards, free agency, and many other aspects of professional basketball. Simply put, it's one of the most important documents in the sport. That's why so many fans, analysts, and media members are paying close attention to every public comment from league officials and players. The reason is simple. The WNBA today looks very different than it did just a few years ago. Attendance has increased dramatically. National television coverage has expanded. Corporate sponsorships continue to grow. Merchandise sales have reached new heights. Perhaps most importantly, millions of new fans have discovered the league. Much of that attention has followed the arrival of an exciting rookie class led by Caitlin Clark, along with several other talented young players who have helped bring unprecedented visibility to women's professional basketball. Clark's impact has been impossible to ignore. Games featuring the Indiana Fever routinely attract some of the largest television audiences in league history. Road arenas often experience significant attendance increases whenever the Fever visit. Jerseys continue to sell at remarkable rates. Social media engagement surrounding the league has reached levels that would have been difficult to imagine only a few seasons ago. But while fans celebrate this growth, another question naturally follows. How should the league build upon this momentum? That's where discussions surrounding the next CBA become so important. Players have consistently expressed their desire to see continued improvements in several areas. Competitive salaries. player benefits, travel accommodations, long-term investment in the game, resources for player development, facility improvements, health and wellness support. These conversations aren't unique to the WNBA. Every major professional sports league periodically renegotiates agreements between ownership and players. Sometimes those negotiations proceed smoothly. Other times they involve lengthy discussions as both sides work toward an agreement that benefits the future of the sport. For the WNBA, these negotiations may be especially significant because the league is experiencing rapid growth. When a business grows quickly, expectations naturally change. Players recognize the increased attention. Owners recognize new business opportunities. Sponsors recognize expanding audiences. Broadcasters recognize growing demand. Everyone wants the league to continue moving forward. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean everyone agrees on exactly how that should happen. That's perfectly normal during labor negotiations. Fans often misunderstand these discussions because headlines frequently focus on disagreements rather than shared goals. In reality, both the league and the players generally want the same broad outcome: a stronger, healthier, and more successful WNBA. The conversations usually center on how to achieve that goal. One area receiving particular attention is revenue growth. As television audiences expand and commercial partnerships increase, many fans wonder how that additional success could influence future player compensation and league investment. Those are complicated financial questions that involve many factors beyond television ratings alone. Still, there's little doubt that the league's recent popularity has changed the overall conversation. Several years ago, many casual sports fans rarely discussed the WNBA. Today, nearly every major sports network covers league news regularly. As
National
this story
debate
develops,
shows discuss
new
games,
information may emerge.
former NBA
or the
players
conversation
analyze
may gradually
performances.
fade as
Journalists
attention
devote
shifts
significant
to the next
coverage
trending
to
topic.
women's basketball.
Either way,
That level of
responsible
exposure
commentary
creates
means
tremendous
updating our
opportunities.
understanding when
It
credible
also
evidence
creates
becomes
greater
available rather than
expectations.
relying solely
Fans
on
now
viral
expect
posts.
world-class
In the end,
broadcasts,
the most valuable
high-quality
takeaway
facilities,
isn't choosing a side
excellent
before all the
officiating,
facts are known.
transparent
It's recognizing
communication,
that in the age of social
competitive
media,
balance,
patience,
and
evidence,
continued
and
investment.
critical thinking
Players
remain
naturally
just as
expect
important
those
as
improvements
ever.
as well.
That's how
Another
meaningful
important
discussions
topic
begin,
involves player
and that's how
experience.
trust with an audience
Over the past
is
several
built
years,
over time. The league has already introduced improvements in areas such as travel and player resources. Many players have praised those steps while also emphasizing that continued progress remains important. As the sport grows, expectations evolve. What seemed acceptable years ago may no longer reflect the league's current position. Growth changes standards. Growth changes priorities. Growth changes possibilities. That's one reason these discussions have become so significant. The WNBA isn't negotiating from the same position it occupied a decade ago. Today's league reaches larger audiences, generates greater media attention, creates stronger commercial opportunities, and attracts more public interest than ever before. Those developments naturally influence conversations about the future. Meanwhile, fans continue debating these topics across social media every day. Some discussions are thoughtful. Others become filled with speculation. Rumors spread quickly, especially when individual comments are taken out of context or presented without supporting information. That's why it's essential to distinguish between verified facts and online speculation. Public negotiations often evolve over months rather than days. Statements are clarified. Ideas change. Discussions continue. Jumping to conclusions based on isolated headlines rarely tells the complete story. What remains clear, however, is that the WNBA stands at a remarkable moment in its history. Interest continues to rise. Young stars continue to emerge. Veteran players continue performing at an elite level. New fans continue discovering the sport. The foundation for long-term growth appears stronger than ever. How the league builds upon that foundation will likely become one of the defining stories of the next several seasons. The next collective bargaining agreement represents an opportunity, not only to address current issues, but also to establish a vision for the future of women's professional basketball. Whatever the final agreement looks like, its impact will extend far beyond one season. It could influence player careers, team operations, fan experiences, league investment, and the continued growth of the WNBA for years to come. That's why these conversations matter. They're not simply about contracts. They're about the future direction of one of the fastest-growing professional sports leagues in North America. As discussions about the WNBA's future continue, one question keeps coming up among fans. What exactly are players hoping to achieve in the next collective bargaining agreement? The answer is more complex than many headlines suggest. For years, WNBA players have spoken publicly about improving the overall experience of playing in the league. While salaries often receive the most attention, they're only one piece of a much larger conversation. Players have also discussed topics such as travel, recovery, training resources, health benefits, scheduling, and long-term investment in the league. As the WNBA continues to grow, many believe these areas should grow alongside it. The timing of these discussions is significant. The league has experienced record attendance, increased television audiences, and greater national exposure. Major brands continue investing in women's basketball, and media coverage has expanded dramatically compared to previous years. Many players see this as an opportunity to build on that momentum. At the same time, league leadership faces the challenge of balancing long-term financial stability with continued investment in teams, facilities, and player development. Finding that balance is a normal part of collective bargaining in professional sports. History shows that negotiations like these rarely happen overnight. In nearly every major sports league, both sides spend months reviewing proposals, discussing priorities, and working toward an agreement that reflects the league's current reality and future goals. The WNBA is no different. Because the league is evolving rapidly, expectations are evolving as well. Fans have noticed changes already. More games are nationally televised, attendance has increased in many cities, and players have become household names. These developments create opportunities that didn't exist just a few years ago. One of the biggest reasons for this growth has been the influx of new fans. Many people who began following Caitlin Clark have also discovered other stars across the league, leading to greater interest in teams throughout the WNBA. That's an important point. While individual players often attract attention, the league's long-term success depends on continued growth across all franchises. Expanding the fan base, improving the game day experience, and investing in players all contribute to that objective. Another key aspect of these negotiations is transparency. Fans naturally want updates whenever discussions are taking place, but formal negotiations often remain private until both sides are ready to announce progress. That can create an information gap, which is sometimes filled by speculation on social media. For that reason, it's important to distinguish between verified reports and online rumors. Official statements from the league, the Players Association, or team representatives provide the most reliable information. As the process moves forward, one thing remains clear. Everyone involved recognizes that the WNBA is in a period of historic growth. The next agreement won't simply shape the next season. It could influence the direction of the league for many years. That's why these discussions are receiving so much attention from players, executives, media, and fans alike. The spotlight on the WNBA has never been brighter, and the decisions made during this period could help define the next era of women's professional basketball. As the conversation continues, one thing has become impossible to ignore. The WNBA is no longer fighting for attention. It has it. Every week, games are making headlines. Television audiences remain strong. As this story develops, with new information may emerge, and social media or the conversation may continue long after the final buzzer shifts. Women's basketball has entered a new chapter. Either way, and many responsible commentary means only the beginning. Our understanding the league's recent growth evidence becomes available rather than it is the result of years of work by players, coaches, in the end, team owners. The most valuable takeaway in building choosing a side women's basketball. All the facts are known. Veteran stars. It's recognizing that in the age of social media, while today's generation has introduced the game to thinking remain just as important as ever. Now, the challenge how meaningful discussions begin, and that's how trust with an audience, players, and the Players Association all understand that today's decisions will shape tomorrow's opportunities. That's why discussions surrounding the future of the WNBA receive so much attention. These aren't simply conversations about one season, they're conversations about the next decade. Fans have become a major part of that story. Today's WNBA audience is larger, more engaged, and more connected than ever before. Every game sparks conversations across social media. Every standout performance creates new highlights. Every close finish attracts national attention. That level of engagement is exactly what professional sports hope to achieve. However, increased popularity also brings greater expectations. Fans expect competitive basketball. They expect transparency from the league. They expect continued investment in players and teams. And they expect the WNBA to continue building on its remarkable progress. Many analysts believe the league is in one of the strongest positions it has ever been. Expansion plans, increased sponsorships, improved media coverage, and growing fan support all point toward a promising future. At the same time, everyone recognizes that continued success requires careful planning. Growing a professional sports league involves more than exciting games. It requires investment in facilities, player development, marketing, youth basketball initiatives, and creating an experience that keeps fans coming back year after year. Fortunately, many of those areas have already shown positive momentum. Players continue inspiring the next generation. Communities continue embracing their local teams. Young athletes now have more role models than ever before. These developments suggest that women's basketball is reaching audiences that previous generations could only imagine. Perhaps the most exciting part is that this growth appears sustainable. New stars continue entering the league. Veteran players continue performing at elite levels. Coaches continue raising the standard of competition. Fans continue discovering the excitement of the WNBA. Those are encouraging signs for everyone involved. Of course, there will always be debates. There will always be different opinions about league decisions, officiating, scheduling, or future priorities. That's true in every major professional sport. What matters most is that those conversations remain grounded in verified information and respect for the game. As the WNBA continues evolving, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The league's future has never looked brighter. The combination of elite talent, passionate fans, growing business opportunities, and increased national attention has created a unique moment in sports history. The next few years could prove to be some of the most important in the league's existence. For players, it's an opportunity to help shape the future of professional women's basketball. For fans, it's an opportunity to witness that history unfold in real time. And for the league, it's an opportunity to build a lasting foundation that benefits future generations of athletes. No matter what developments come next, one fact remains unchanged. The WNBA has become one of the fastest-growing stories in professional sports. As these conversations continue, everyone involved in the WNBA understands that the next chapter of the league won't be defined by a single game, a single player, or a single headline. It will be shaped by the decisions made over time and by the commitment of everyone invested in the sport. For fans, this is an exciting moment. Never before has the WNBA enjoyed this level of national attention. Television broadcasts are reaching larger audiences, social media engagement continues to grow, and more people than ever are following the league from opening night through the playoffs. That kind of momentum creates opportunities. Teams can continue expanding their fan bases. Corporate partners can invest more heavily in the league. Young athletes can see a clear pathway to playing professional basketball. Communities can become even more connected to their local franchises. Those are all positive developments that help strengthen the future of women's basketball. Of course, with greater visibility also comes greater responsibility. League officials, team executives, coaches, and players all recognize that every decision is now watched more closely than ever before. Whether it's scheduling, officiating, player development, or long-term planning, fans expect transparency and consistency. That's part of being a rapidly growing professional league. At the same time, players remain focused on what they can control. Every practice is another opportunity to improve. Every game is another chance to compete. Every season presents a new opportunity to build a legacy. Despite all the headlines surrounding league business and future negotiations, the athletes themselves continue doing what they've always done, preparing to perform at the highest level. Meanwhile, the fans remain the driving force behind the league's remarkable growth. Every sold-out arena, every television viewer, every jersey purchased, every young basketball player inspired by today's stars. All of these moments contribute to the WNBA's continued success. That's why many observers believe the league is entering one of the most promising periods in its history. The talent level has never been higher. Competition has never been tougher. Interest has never been greater. And the opportunity to grow the game has never been bigger. The conversations happening today are ultimately about building on that momentum. Everyone wants to see the WNBA continue moving forward. Everyone wants the league to become stronger. Everyone wants future generations of players to have even greater opportunities than those who came before them. While opinions may differ on the best path to reach those goals, there is broad agreement that the future of women's professional basketball is brighter than ever. As this story develops, new information may emerge, more exciting games, or the conversation may gradually fade as emerging stars and important discussions about the direction of the league. Responsible commentary means updating our understanding when captured evidence becomes available rather than relying solely on viral posts. The question now isn't whether people are watching. In the end, the question is how the league will build on this historic momentum and continue delivering the world-class basketball. It's recognizing that in the age of social media, patience, evidence, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, just as important. Thank you so much for watching and being how meaningful discussions begin. Basketball community. And that's how trust with an audience is built every single one of you who takes the time to watch, comment, and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more fact-based WNBA news, analysis, and updates, make sure you hit that like button. It may seem like a small action, but it makes a huge difference. Every like helps this video reach more basketball fans and tells YouTube that you enjoy this type of content. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. We upload regular coverage of the biggest stories in the WNBA, including Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever, league news, game analysis, player updates, trade rumors, coaching decisions, and everything happening around women's professional basketball. Most importantly, turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. The WNBA is changing quickly, and whenever major news breaks, we'll be here with a clear, balanced breakdown of what happened, what's been confirmed, and what it means for the league moving forward. Now it's your turn to join the conversation. What do you think about the future of the WNBA? Do you believe the league is headed in the right direction? What changes would you most like to see over the next few years? And what do you think should be the biggest priorities as the league continues to grow? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We read as many comments as we can, and some of the best viewer opinions even inspire future videos. Just remember to keep the discussion respectful. It's okay to disagree with other fans, but let's keep this community focused on thoughtful basketball conversations. If you know another basketball fan who would enjoy this video, be sure to share it with them. The more people who join the conversation, the stronger this community becomes. Finally, thank you again for all of your incredible support. Every view, every like, every comment, and every subscription helps this channel continue bringing you high-quality WNBA content. We couldn't do it without you, and we're excited to keep growing alongside this amazing basketball community. Until next time, keep enjoying the games, keep supporting the sport, and stay tuned because there are plenty of exciting stories still to come this season. Thanks again for watching, take care, and we'll see you in the next video.